You know, there's a lot of technology in the church, but sometimes we lose focus when we have all the technology. You know, I am more convinced now than ever that life change happens in the context of a relationship with each other, and a relationship with God, of course. But I look around and I see this buying into this consumeristic Christianity that we've fallen into. I see it mainly in North America, and I guess it's throughout the whole world. But I see this mindset of being consumers of Christianity and not contributors to the kingdom of God. And what I mean by that is people want to come to church to see what's good for them. They go to a church because they want the church to meet their needs. It's not coming to a community and saying, how can I serve and partner with this local community, this local congregation to make a kingdom impact for Jesus Christ? That's the question that we should be asking. But we always ask, how can this church meet my needs? And we go from church to church to church, and we church hop because this church is not meeting my need here, or this church is not meeting my need there, or we say, we're not getting fed at that church, so we're going to go to a church where we can be fed. And that is a consumeristic mindset. Because when we are engaging in service to others and kingdom impact, guess what? We're going to grow spiritually. Our lives are going to be changed because to be engaged in a kingdom impact ministry, it means that you have to have a relationship with the people around you, within that community of faith and out in the community at large. And God will use that and you will grow. Another angle at this is also this notion that we have to have this technology stuff in order to be culturally relevant. And hey, don't get me wrong. I love my cell phone. I love having a sound system. I love being able to use things like video to creatively teach. All those are tools. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we should not be a part of that. But that's completely secondary to the real purpose that we have. And sometimes the technology and that sort of stuff takes primary focus. We have to have a new building. We have to have chairs instead of pews. You bloom where you're planted. If you have pews, guess what? You have pews. I heard one person say that we need to have the latest and greatest so that we can be cutting edge. And that stopped me in my tracks, because if we are constantly going for the latest and greatest to be cutting edge, guess what? As soon as we get the latest and greatest, there's a whole new wave of latest and greatest that's going to come. So you're constantly striving after that. And it's a consumeristic mindset. That's what the world teaches us to do. We have to have the latest and greatest car, the latest and greatest this or that or house. And we apply that to the community of faith, the church, instead of focusing on our mission to make disciples who make disciples, to be missional in our community, to build those relational bridges, because life change happens in the context of a relationship, not in the context of technology or the context of consumerism. Life change happens in the context of a relationship with each other in the local church, in the local body. I love the biblical one another's. Let me read this list to you. We are to love one another, be devoted to one another, honor one another, accept one another, teach one another, greet one another, serve one another, bear one another's burdens, be compassionate to one another, submit to one another. Here's a big one. Forgive one another, encourage one another, spur one another towards love, live in harmony with one another, offer hospitality to one another. If we strive after living the biblical one another's, technology becomes secondary. Consumerism becomes secondary because we're focused. We have our focus outside of ourselves. And we are making an impact in other people's lives. And you know what? Our life is impact. We grow closer to Christ, and the body functions like the body. That is easier said than done. That's the hard way. My challenge is that we go out and we live out the biblical one another's. If you're a church leader listening and watching this, I challenge you. Live out the biblical one another's. The technology will come. There's no substitute for that. People come. They will remember how you live out the biblical one another's. People that come into the doors of your church, they're not going to remember long term. That was great technology. Did you see the lights? Did you see this? Did you see that? They're not going to remember that long term. But they are going to remember how they are welcomed and loved and encouraged and taught. That's the challenge. Technology will come, but we are to be contributors, not consumers. Easier said than done. My prayer is that we all, as church leaders, as members of Grace family, that we live out the biblical one another's and make an impact in our community, an impact that is pleasing to God, and we completely grow. It's going to be it's quite a ride when you strive after that. Praise be to God for what He's called the church to be and do.